Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, welcome back and thanks so much for joining here. For those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. And for those of you who are watching the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube, welcome. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Hopefully you all, well, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, you had a great Christmas, which was yesterday, which is crazy that we're heading to, again, the end of the year, which is insane here. But yes, I have been traveling around and visiting family members and that sort of thing for Christmas. So I apologize today. I'm getting on here a lot later than usual, but just trying to travel and get to where I'm trying to get to. But again, I hope that you all, for those of you who celebrate, I hope that you have had a wonderful Christmas. And thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Hi and welcome. And I am, right now, I'm in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. I feel like I don't know what city because I've been to different cities visiting family members lately. Hello from Australia. Welcome. Australia is so beautiful. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. I'm going to make South Carolina's in the house, DMV, Kansas City. Welcome. I'm going to make today's mental health moment brief today because we're right in the middle of the holidays. So I'm going to get back to family and allow you to get back to your family and friends. Again, if you're celebrating during this time. But I just want to remind you all, for those of you who missed last week's mental health moment, we went through, and thanks for those who are still starting to join here. We sort of went through what was your word or your phrase heading into 2024, which is coming up here, like next week, which is crazy. So if you haven't already thought of that, just a friendly reminder again to think about what that word or phrase could be heading into this new year. Just a word or phrase that you want to put around you, whether it's, someplace you can see or someplace that you're constantly reminded of this word or phrase, because it's really important to be intentional. So for those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment is every Tuesday, generally 8 p.m. on the dot Eastern Standard Time on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Except for today, of course, as I mentioned, because I'm traveling around for the holidays. However, the word or phrase is very important for you to make sure that you're intentional because you want to be intentional in your wellness goals. So every week we're on here talking about different ways for you to be the best version of who you are. So you can show up for yourself powerfully and amazingly and show up for those around you. Someone said, 2024 phrase, it's my time. I love it. So some of you who are here last week knew we kind of went through this, but I know, sometimes new people join and that sort of thing. So I wanted to allow everyone an opportunity. Belated Merry Christmas to all from Virginia. Thank you so much. From South Dakota is in the house. Spent the holidays by myself, was relaxing, beautiful. So yes, whether you spent the holidays by yourself, with family, friends, a combination, or however you may have spent that time, I hope that it was a joyous time. And peace and blessings from New Jersey. Welcome, New Jersey. Another person's from New Jersey. We got a lot of New Jersey people here tonight. Coconut Creek, Florida. Welcome. Columbus, Georgia's here. Kansas is here. Someone said their word is grace heading into the new year. I love that. Beautiful. That's such a great word, by the way. If you're not already on that path in your wellness journey to finding and giving yourself grace, I really, really hope that you all will add that to your list, your wellness goal list for next year, because it's really, really important, especially over the last couple of years here, just all of us, like emotionally and maybe physically recovering from COVID, the global pandemic that it was, and all that the stress that brought. It's really, really, really important, I think more so now than ever, to make sure that we're giving ourselves grace. So I love that word. So thank you for sharing that. Someone else said, Surrender and trust in the Lord. Beautiful. My word is intentional. I love it. California's here. Welcome, welcome. My phrase is give yourself grace. Ooh, this is like a common theme tonight about grace. I love it. Someone else says, stay in the moment. Don't predict the future. You'll be wrong. Life tends to throw us various surprises, which is why we're here every week, again, just talking about different ways to improve ourselves, different ways to be a better version of yourself and the best version of yourself, hopefully, because you're right. Life will throw you surprises. That's just what happens. Some of the surprises are amazing and, miracles and positive things, which are great. And then some of them are really difficult, hard things to get through. But either way, when you really start to build yourself up, you all, like, when you make a commitment to that, and I know this is challenging sometimes. I know it personally, and I know it professionally as a psychologist, and all the stories I've heard, great stories though of resilience, but also the tough times, the difficult times, the depression, the anxiety, all those sorts of things. Like, I get it. Like, it can be, there's just challenging things that we all go through. But when we work on building ourselves up, when you work on making that commitment to be better, to take the steps to be better, it can make it a little bit easier to manage some of the things that are thrown at us. Someone else said ALT. I don't know if that's supposed to say ATL. Okay. Someone said Alabama's in the house. Welcome. Conquer. I love that word. Such a strong, powerful word. I love you guys' words. Really appreciate you. Thanks for these connections. Really appreciate you in these events. Absolutely. I'm happy to do this. Okay. So I think it said STO. Okay. Mine is total peace with God and good health. I love that. Someone said, put my mask on first. Yes, that came up a lot last week too. Gracious and tenacious. Just being thankful and love family and my family, God, and myself. Love it. Love it. Someone else said, take a step forward each day. Fantastic. And that's a good one too. Very important to take that step forward, but also know that there just will be, in the challenging times and wherever you're at right now in your life, you may be feeling like you're taking that step forward towards your wellness, towards your mental health, and you may be at a place where, like, Dr. Hammond, I feel like I took like 3 steps backwards, right? Like that. But just know that that's normal. It's frustrating, but it's normal sometimes. But again, know that you can always reset, recharge yourself, and keep going forward, even though sometimes you're like, man, I'm taking some steps back. That's okay. That's okay. That's life. It happens sometimes, but just keep moving, right? Someone else said my word, Hyattsville, Maryland. Oh, I haven't heard that city. And my word is peace, with capital letters, peace. Wonderful. I hope that, and I love that word. And also I hope for each and every one of you that in some way, shape, or form, because all of us are different, that you will work on for you what that means. So peace, I know what peace of mind means for me, but what does it mean for you, right? All of us have different ways that we can get to peace, different ways that we can establish that peace of mind. But when you really think about, again, moving into this new year here, you all, when you really think about, like, how can I make my peace of mind a priority? How can I make myself my number one priority? What do I need to do? What are the steps I need to take? When you're constantly in that mindset, or even if you're not in that mindset yet, that's a big mindset shift. But if you're trying to get in that mindset, those are the type of questions that you have to start to ask yourself. It is a hard thing to do, but when you spend the quiet time with yourself, asking yourself these reflective questions, thinking about what the answers are, again, we are so busy. I don't know about you all. These last couple weeks have been so hectic, crazy, and busy with the holidays. And I mean, like I said, I'm late to mental health moment today because I'm traveling and we're doing all these things and family things and all this, which is fun, but also a lot happening, right? So sometimes we get very distracted from ourselves because we're caught up, whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's family, whether it's friends, neighbors, whatever. Like, there's all these things happening, but it's still really important, as often as possible, that you take the time for you to have that quiet time to ask yourself the questions and then think about what the answers are, right? So yep, someone said be 1% better than you were yesterday. Yes, I love that. And I love Atomic Habits. I always think of that book when someone says like be 1% better. I always think of that book. It's just such a great book about just even sometimes taking the baby steps. Like if you're 1% better every day, think about how much better you'd be at the end of next year. Just 1%. Like that's a baby step, right? And very doable to do that. So I love that. Someone else says, I'm trying to take one step at a time. I have to trust in God. Absolutely. Absolutely. Protecting my peace. Beautiful. 2024 will be a year of commitment and consistency. Wonderful. So a lot of times, you all, so just as a reminder, I'm going to wrap up here soon because I promised you all a shorter mental health moment tonight. Or whatever time of day it is for you, depending on where you're tuning in. But one of the things that can be difficult, and you're not alone in this, there's plenty of studies to show this. Normally with any type of resolution or with goal setting, we might be like, oh, new year, new me, and starting all these things, and January comes, maybe February, maybe even March, and you're like, man, my motivation or my momentum or whatnot has diminished a bit, right? And you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to keep these goals. I don't know if I'm going to do these things. So that is a very common theme that's seen year after year after year. What I would say to you about that, if you really want to make your wellness, if you really want to be consistent with your wellness, is again, you have to start with the baby steps, the doable things. Now, I'm not saying not to take the leap. Sometimes you want to do, big, huge steps in changing and personal development and self-development, all those sorts of things. Those are important too. But when you start with the baby steps, those things that you're like, man, this is no brainer. I could do that. That part, starting with that, being consistent with that first, it makes it a bit easier for you to keep going through the process of being better. So whatever it is for you that you have, I hope you have for your wellness goal heading into this new year, again, just know that take at a minimum, start to take the baby steps. The problem with growth is when you don't do anything at all, right? Because sometimes we try to do like way too much and then we get stuck or we get overwhelmed or we get tired or we get frustrated, all those sorts of things, instead of starting with some baby steps that are like very doable, easy things. After a while, your brain goes, oh, wait, I can do this, right? It may take a little while, some weeks or some months. But your brain, you start to retrain your brain. Someone else said, I agree, self-care, yes. Texas is in the house, welcome. Yep, someone said, I think because I'm trying to find my way to a job that challenges me and makes me feel fulfilled, God will guide me, absolutely. Someone said, I made myself take almost 2 months of inner self-care. Prayed, cried, laughed. You'll see yourself and know what direction you should go in. Yes, it is. And I'm glad you mentioned that too. And I do want to say this. I know I said I was going to wrap up. I really am going to wrap up, y'all. But I wanted to respond to what you just said, because I wish I could tell you that the process of personal growth and the process of mindset retraining is easy. I would be lying to you if I said that. It's just not always easy. When you're really taking the time, especially taking the quiet time and asking yourself questions and being honest with yourself, right? Some of you may journal this, some of you may want to write it down, or you may want to think about it, or however it is for you that works for you. There's some hard days in there, right? When you really start to look at like, wait a minute, what do I need to work on? Like, where am I at emotionally? What do I need to do to improve? Like, you may be having some tough conversations with yourself, right? If you're really being honest. But that's okay. The main thing I want you to remember is not to get into the self-blame game, not to get into the guilt, not to get into the why didn't I and why couldn't I and I should have and all those sorts of things like that. That's not going to help in the process. It's a human reaction to have, but it doesn't help in the process. So as much as possible, you celebrating yourself, you being proud of where you're at, even again, if you're just taking the baby steps to be a better version of who you are, I'm proud of you. Like, seriously, right? If you want to take the leap too, if you're in that mindset and you're ready, then you take a bigger leap. But even with the baby steps, starting to try to move forward. And whatever way you need, if you need physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, wherever you're at, that you're like, man, I really need some improvement in this area, taking those baby steps really count. You're working on retraining your brain to know that you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be emotionally healthy. You deserve to be physically healthy. You deserve to be spiritually healthy. You deserve to be like all these great things, right? You deserve those things. You deserve to have joy in your life. So I want you to remember that. My problem is being consistent, even with baby steps. Yes, and that can be challenging. I would say to like keep going. I just know that it's hard. I know that there's hard times. I know it feels like, man, but I'm not being consistent. Anytime you're at the point where you're like, man, I wasn't consistent, whether it's self-care or whatever it is, it's okay to start back. Actually, you're not really starting back over, but it's okay to start again. So if you had, let's say you all had a daily or weekly self-care challenge that you did for yourself in whatever way that looked like, and you took a little bit of time off, then restart it back again. Like you're allowed. I feel like, God, now I'm gonna get on my soapbox, y'all. I feel like in our society, sometimes we get so much into the self-blame, the guilt, because it's like, oh my gosh, you took whatever, a certain amount of time off from doing something, instead of saying, man, whatever happened in my life, I got distracted, I got thrown off, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to restart it again. Like you're allowed to do that. And that's okay. Right? You're allowed to give yourself grace. Like many of you said earlier, you're allowed to give yourself that grace, restart it again. Life is going to life, right? What do we say? Life is lifing. Like life is going to happen. Things are going to pop up. Give yourself grace during that time and restart again. Right? So, but make sure that you're celebrating your wins too. Even the small wins count too. Someone said, from Ghana, beautiful. Breaking poor habits is so hard. Real talk. It is. It is. It's a process, you all. It's a process. There's a lot of ways to do that. It's absolutely possible though. I can't promise you that it's an overnight thing. Actually, I can promise you it's not an overnight thing. Because it takes time. And for some of you, it's going to be weeks. For some of you, it's months. And so for some of you, it's years. And it's okay. But again, when you celebrate yourself through the process, even the setbacks, even the feeling like you're going backwards, all those sorts of things, but you know mentally like, man, I'm going to keep going. Those are the things that will get you through. Yep. Someone said the wind. Oh, I love that. Someone said the windshield of your life looking forward is so much broader than the rear view mirror of your past. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm in a new world after working for 30 years. I believe in me and want to be happy. I trust in God and I will succeed. I love those affirmations. Perfect. Yes. That's the type of positive things that we need to be telling ourselves, right? That you will succeed, that you will get through. I know there's the dark times and the hard times, but you will get through. The journey is fresh every day. As long as we survive, we can still win tomorrow. Yes. Someone said that's so true. Yes. So again, now see, I'm going to wrap up for real. Wrap up for real this time. I said it was going to be a brief mental health moment tonight because of the holidays, but I really am going to wrap up. Thank you all so much for your comments. I apologize for the way I sounded. My gift from my son, I said this year, was the gift of illness a little bit, but I'm finally starting to get over this cold here. But nonetheless, if you all need me before next Tuesday, you can always go to drnikishahammond.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Dr. Nikisha Hammond, or Instagram, Dr.Hammond, or Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media outlet. I'm usually sharing some type of mental health resource on there or inspirational quote or something of that nature because we all have to stay uplifted. But nonetheless, you're absolutely welcome. But nonetheless, if you need me, drnikishahammond.com. And I will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated, Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing week. Be sure, if you haven't already, to write down your quote, your phrase, or your word for next year, for 2024. And I'm so excited. I'll be back, yes, next year, literally, with each and every one of you all. But be blessed, and I'll see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, guys.